Okay. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing this fine day? Hi, DJ Natty. Hi, Paul, PF Dennis, and Phil. Hi, Ken, and DeFinch, and Bearcool, and Chris, and Jokernut. How's everyone doing? We're here for a special weekday edition of the stream. Remember the music. You are absolutely right. I almost forgot the music. I actually found a different one. Let me see if I can. There's a different one I wanted to try. Hold on. Give me just a second. See if I can find what I wanted. Yep, there it is. And shuffle. And play. There we go. Who we got? Hey, Viking Cat. Hey, 007 FPV and Weave. And NH3D and Tony and Mr. Clown and Cookie and Kiloprince. Xerox OS. How are you? Better than your US and B McNichol. Got a little bit of a Charlie visit today. I had to wake him up for this. So today's a work day. So, I mean, I'm not going to change my clothes and have to wash more clothes just for stream. So this is work day. But you know, this works pretty well because I can use a clip. So if anybody knows where I can get some Star Wars print polos, let me know. Hi, Brant Miller. Hey, Ari. And Troy J. Gustavo and Lecter. I got pretty far yesterday. Today we are continuing the build. Okay, I need to make sure Charlie doesn't knock stuff off over here. We are continuing the build of the beta kit for the LDO, the LDO Voron Trident beta kit. LDO has provided this kit for me to give feedback on the assembly of it, what's included, that kind of thing. So it's really cool, I think, that they have no problems with this happening live. So they did the same with the 2.4 kit. We did this starting in December. So, hi G Funny Money. Hi Jose, and Scott, Nathan, welcome, and Alan B, Nuno. So one of the unique things, he's settling down even. One of the unique things that LDO, or not unique, but one of the value-added things that LDO is doing is on the 300 build, which is what this is. This is a 300 by 300 by 300Z. So they've decided to include the linear rails, the longer integrated lead screw steppers, and taller panels in the revised frame to allow for a full 300 millimeter of Z travel. It makes for a pretty tall printer, but Star Wars makes them on Amazon. I'm gonna have to check that out because I don't know. Is there a difference in sound quality from yesterday to today? Hey, Art from Texas. Hi, Printerpron, Grant, and C Senor. Hector, welcome. How do we sign up to be a supporter for the channel? Can't seem to find the link. Well, you know how to get a hold of me. You've already supported. I mean, I order things. I pay for things from Hector, and he sends extra things. So I'll be sure to point out what things that I buy versus what I get. Would that be called a Hans Polo shirt? That's a good one. Hi, Christian from Copenhagen. Zenbender. What are the pros and cons between a Trident and a 2.4 aside from the Z difference? That's pretty much the big difference. So you have a 2.4 with your bed, stationary, all the weight in the bottom, gantry that moves, obviously, versus the Trident, which has a fixed gantry, more rigid. The bed, everything starts higher and moves down. Luke, thanks for becoming a member. Got your Prusa running in ABS. I was right about the bearing holders. Were you able to get past it the same way? Heat it up a little bit, just relieve that tension a little bit, and it was good for me. Hi, Derek. Hi, Agent Monroe. Charlie is relaxed. I heard about Prusa buying printed solid. I did. Same time as everyone else. That was a shock. That was a surprise. It makes sense though. I mean, especially after they started being a official reseller for at least the education and government space sectors. So that's exciting. It's really exciting for Dave too, I'm sure. We'll see where that goes. I sent you a few links in Discord for polos. Okay, I'll check those out afterwards. Hi, Luke and Brian. Matt. Charlie is very comfortable. But I did pick him up from a spot in direct sunlight at our back screen door, just so he could be at the start of the stream, because I saw the chat about Charlie to begin with. So I know my place here. So yeah, I was glad to see with the printed solid thing that at least on what they're saying is there's no change to their normal operation. I'd hate to see printed solid have to change what they're carrying, because they carry a pretty good selection of stuff for the US market. Hi, Yuri. Hey, lol. Howdy. So we spent 5 hours on this yesterday. It was a pretty good stream. Made it pretty far to this point. Today we're going to, the goal is to spend about 2 hours. The reason that I'm doing weekday streams is to compress the build time. If I was doing this only on Sunday streams, we'd be at 7 or 8 Sundays worth of streams to get this done. And since it is a beta product and I have not been given a deadline, I have not been given any pressure to do this quicker, but I think I need to get it done in a expedient time to provide that feedback. Plus, there's a good chance, not guaranteed, but there's a good chance that we may be able to get this shipped to be at Murph. So I'd like to have it all done and complete to make that happen, or at least to allow that to happen and not be the limiting factor there. So, Delmar, Andrew, White Wolf, Brian. I kind of get lost on who I've said hi to, so if I missed you, it's no offense. What would be the leading cause of a brand new switchwire build bed warpage? And how would you fix it? Where did you get the bed and the carriage? Because the switchwire is really dependent on a quality Y carriage and making sure that all the spacers for the bed are the same height. So I'd be looking at that stuff. Between the 2.4 and the Trident, is there a difference in print quality, speed, or performance during higher heat? Well, theoretically, a switchwire or a Trident, I was still on the switchwire question, heat rises. You should have a more efficient build chamber temperature on a Trident. But other than that, print quality, speed, all that is going to be very similar. Probably almost indistinguishable. Oh, so, I mean, Hector brought up a good point. If you're looking at this in a mesh, the switchwire is 100% critical that you have your gantry not racked. It has to be perpendicular or parallel to the bed. And I've covered that. I know my streams are long and it's hard to go back and find a certain point in them, but I've covered it a couple of times in my switchwire streams, how I do that, and it works out pretty well. Hey, P3. Russell. Carriage is from KB3D and the bed is an Amazon special. At that point, I'd be trusting the carriage and then questioning the Amazon special. But those other things you should check out too. The spacers are important and the gantry being not being racked. Hey, Bill Brothers. Wait for Charlie to finish. We might. his eyes are closed. Any thoughts on Prusa purchasing printed solid? Yeah, I covered that a little bit, Zenbender. I think it's cool. I mean, I'm sure David is really excited, and David is a great guy. The little bit that I've interacted with him, I'm sure if he thinks it's a good idea, then it's probably a good idea for him and the community, because he's seems to be pretty community focused. 3D printing community in general. Hey, John. Quick shout out, I built my first printer using the LDO 2.4 kit, and my first Voron cube is now printing. Your streams are very helpful. Thanks for the beta testing kit. Awesome. I'm glad you've had success flying gyroscope. Laszlo, thanks for becoming a member. So where we left off, we can work around Charlie a little bit here. I'm not going to disturb him quite yet. Where we left off. Why did that not work? Let's go here and give me just a second. I don't know what is going on. There we go. That should be it now. I don't know why I did that. Hello, hopefully you get a Trident when they release to complete the whole farm. Let's see here. That is a relaxed cat. There you go, Bear Cool. Is that what you're looking for? Charlie Cam. Okay. Back to the assembly manual, where we left off. We were on the X-gantry. Hey, Pex Peppers. We racing to the finish? Let's see where this goes. I don't make any progress in between streams. Charlie is chill right now. Yeah. So we are here. So let's see where we're at, what they suggest next in the... Oh, and I can hear him purring. I don't think that would come up on camera. Very cool. Charlie earning it's Voron modeling money. $4.99. Thank you. Yesterday I suggested zoom out. Now we have a zoom in. Full circle. Do whatever is needed. We are going to start with the X Carriage, it looks like. Oh, we're just inserting heat sets here. Cleveland represent. Slowly racing, never getting into our power bands. Yes, exactly. Okay, so I've already done inserts on this. You guys have seen me do heat set inserts hundreds of times. There are a few that I missed that I'll do on stream, but I prepped most of the parts ahead of time, covering what we covered yesterday. Same with the rails. I prepped all the rails beforehand, and then the last two on stream yesterday. So, are you ready to go find your sunny spot now, Charlie? We can get going on this. Just pull these out here. Bits and pieces we're gonna need right away. I think that's should be about it. Let's take this down here. Have this and I think this is, yeah, this is the X extrusion, the X rail. Yeah, I'm just following what Charlie lets me do. Did he have an aluminum extrusion shaped indent on the neck fur? Our mills. This is a 300 by 300 by 300 build. The 300 build is not a change to the spec. It's something that LDO is doing for their kit. Welcome to 2020. Haha. Okay, so we need some of these. Let's pull out our hex tray, and bearing stacks, and all that good stuff. Let's see, which one are we doing here first? That's this guy. So we talked about bearing stacks. Bearing stacks is a shim. 2 flange bearings with flanges opposing each other. Bye, Charlie. Then another shim. Nathan, how long do you plan on going today? Sorry if you said it before. Probably about 2 hours. So probably it'll end about 2 hours from now, because we usually end up going a little bit over on, at least when we did this last time on the, because I did the same thing on the 2.4 build, because I did some weekday streams that I tried to keep to around 2 hours, and they ended up being 2 to 2.5 hours. Okay, so bearing stack and some 5 nuts. Steve might need to consider a new channel name. Charlie and Steve builds. That's true. What is that? This one? Yeah, it's got to be this one. Oh, those are nice fit in there. Not a slip fit, not a tough fit, just a little bit holding there on its own. There. Charlie models and supervises. Build it basement. Great videos and all. You're doing great showing the build process. I know it can be difficult. How are you finding the quality of the LDO hardware screws? I have no complaints. They've included the black oxide stuff in here, which I think I prefer to the stainless steel myself, but I'm also in California where I haven't had any oxidation problems, rusting problems with the black oxide hardware. Steve Pets. Yep. Steve builds, Steve Pets, Steve unbuilds. Sometimes. As long as we don't destructively unbuild or explosively unbuild. I personally have had some issues with the M2 screws stripping out easily. I haven't. I use a really high quality driver though, for the M2 stuff, this MIP driver. And no torque needed on those. So. I personally like having a 250Z height on my 350 Trident. Makes for a nice overall, roughly cube shape. Yeah. If you need more than 250 millimeters of Z height, then I mean, there's a need for that. Most 95, 98% of my prints don't go more than like 150 millimeters because it's all printer parts. I print printer parts, and then if it's something else, it's not something I usually have to print. Rapid unscheduled destruction, as a certain billionaire space mogul used to say. What's your opinion on using nylox for those? You're compressing plastic. I haven't had any trouble not using nylox on these, and I wouldn't want a nylock to get stuck and spin in the part. And yeah, these space gray frames are nice. So let's get moving on the next part of this. Didn't follow, but did you finish your 3D sets build? I haven't. I've been printing it. I haven't even started it. I'll do that on a stream. That'll be a filler stream when I don't have something else to do. But I've got such a list of projects right now. It'd probably be a filler when I'm not ready to do another project. Okay, we got this. Oh, I need to find the idlers. Idlers from that box. Hey, Ludwig. Hey, BBs. You recently ordered 9 spools of Sparta 3D ABS Sparkle Filament, which I'd ordered 10 and got that blue also. What color? I mean, 9 is quite a bit. Did you order a big selection, or did you order a bunch of like Obsidian black or something? Does Cupertino allow it to become space gray? I don't know. Do they have a trademark on that? I don't know. Can you trademark a color name? Well, it's space gray. I don't know. Would they have been the first to use it? 1 spool of multiple colors. Good. Then we'll need, where did all my, oh, they're there. I think we're gonna need the rest of these for this bit, so. So for the idler here, if you notice, the head of the bolt doesn't have anything here. It goes right through. There's no flange here to tighten against. It just, all this bolt is doing is holding that that idler in place. So you don't even have to tighten this down. You just tighten this until the head is flush here and leave it. That bearing's gonna float. And they sent a spool of pink flexible. Not sure if it was a mistake or a thank you bonus. I bet you it was a thank you bonus, because from what I've seen, they like to include little things. Like last order I had a usually get a tool of some sort. I've gotten tweezers or X-Acto knife, that kind of thing. Hi, Golden Jaguar. Welcome. Okay, so that's one XY joint complete. Bearing stack here. Idler here. I've gone back and forth on this. I think I prefer the idler here as opposed to a bearing stack. Some people put a bearing stack here. And with the bearing stack, you get probably better longevity. You have larger bearings in there. But you have to shim it properly. Otherwise, you end up getting the bearings to split and you can cause wear on the belt in the center. This being able to float, I think, is important. And these aren't that bad to just treat as consumables. I think I'm at a point where I prefer this to the bearing stack, just because it's an easier assemble and it's just gonna float into position. And swapping them out isn't too hard. You can do it on the printer in about 5 minutes. Sean Clark, just finished my first Trident thanks to you and Nero. Thoughts on the idler pin mod? The idler pin mods are fine. I don't know that you're going to notice any difference, but they work okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like a lot of the things we do on these printers. The benefit, if any, is minuscule, but it's fun to do. I mean, mods are fun. Okay, let's get the other one. That, and we'll start with the what do we got going on there? So that's a bearing stack, and so we can just build that bearing stack. Don't need the printed part. Hey, Ray. My cat just wore his breakfast. Just wedges his head between the spoon and his bowl as I served it. Oops. No small washer spaces on the idler. No, not at all. There are features. So when you clean up your parts to make sure everything, all your mating surfaces are flat, make sure that you're careful. I don't know if I can capture that on camera. I did forget a light. So let's turn this light on. Maybe that'll help. Come on, focus. There we go. What can I point with? Point with this. Right here, there is a printed flange right there. Make sure you don't sand that down if you're cleaning up your parts. And that printed flange helps, is what you're bearing, keeps the idler from rubbing on plastic. It stops it. It raises up a little bit. How often do those idlers wear out? I've had a set wear out. I think a set wear out. But since I have, really I have about 5 printers I print across. I don't put as many hours on one printer as some that that may be their only or main printer. I think that the frequency of them wearing out, especially if you buy quality parts, is very very rare and probably worth going with a quality idler and replacing them as necessary, because it shouldn't be often. Where does this? I think this just goes in right there. That's just going to thread in until it just touches. I trimmed off the flange. I've trimmed off the flange myself. Yes. So that goes on there like that. Got a bunch of 5 nuts that go in here. How many hours do you expect this build to take? That's a good question. These builds always take significantly longer than they would if I was doing it off camera, just because, it's a hangout and build format. So I think the 2.4 I built in December was 7 or 8 streams worth of content before it was done. I think I got to part 8 and then I went to extras. V2 has been going for almost a year now and my idlers are still fine. Yeah. Are there steps and manuals for gummy rewards? No, but I bought some Albanese gummy worms because I figured I needed a reward at some point in these streams. So if you noticed my gummy worm bowl. I vote high chews instead of Haribo. Well, these are the Albanese brand. These are really good. Let's get the idler in here, and this one has a flange here, so you don't have to, there's no problems with tightness. This just tightens until it is flush with the top. That's really all that needs to happen. Make sure that moves and floats a little bit. So my wife prefers, DJ Natty, my wife prefers Haribos because they're a chewier gummy out of the package. She's the type that loves red licorice, but only if I've opened it and set it on the shelf for like a year. So as stale as it can get is what she prefers. Otherwise, she says she just eats them too fast. So she likes to chew on them. So the Albanese are a soft gummy. So I don't have any problems. She doesn't go those. At the same time as I bought those, I bought her a bag of Haribos. Beach just having a granola bar 6 hours into the 9-hour switch rival. Yeah, you remember that. I was hungry. Hey, Cameron from LDO. Welcome. And Steve, any 3D sets progress? Yeah, I've got some stuff printed. I haven't printed stuff in a little bit because I've been printing for these projects, but it's Filament at that point. Basically, I have had licorice that I tried to speed up the process of making it stale. So this is just your regular licorice vines licorice. I put it in my dehydrator that I use for, it's right here, you can probably see it if you look close, that I use for drying out filament. And I put it in there for like a weekend, and then I let it dry, cool down, and when I'd grab one, it would literally snap. She loved it. Xerix OS, thanks for becoming a member. Do you have the equivalent of the juice gold bears in the US? I don't know. Are those like a filled, like a juicy filled gummy? The 3D printed raspberry licorice. How does licorice melt? Could you conceivably print it? It's printed. Oh, so Xerox. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we did all of this. Now we got to get the X carriage. Now I thought about this. So one of the other things, if you're new to the build today, one of the other items that LDO included in the kit are nut strips, like they do on the V0. So on the V0 they have those linear rail strips for the instead of using nuts or whatever, you use that strip, and this is it. This is basically a scaled up version of that, and this is for, it slides into the extrusion and is spaced such that you can bolt. This is for an MGN12. I've thought about this, and I think I am going to install this. Before we do that, we're going to take some weight measurements. So this is, the whole purpose of this build is to test things and provide feedback. So I think it's probably easier to see what, like, maybe what input shaping might look like compared to your typical with that in there. Swedish fish. I like Swedish fish. Let's see if we can get a reasonable weight on this scale. We're at 86 grams for this. Nut bars, yeah. It's a nut bar, yes. Do you have a scale to measure it compared to the MGN12? So I don't know. I mean, the MGN12 is going to be that. What I want to weigh it compared to is this many T-nuts. So let's grab this many T-nuts. And that's a good question also, Bear Cool. Would those T-nut bars act as a backer? Maybe, but I don't know. I don't understand it quite enough. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll have 8 T-nuts. Let's turn, oh, there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're at 17 grams. So what is that? 69 grams is the effective weight increase for this T-nut bar. Snickers are my favorite nut bar. I like Snickers. I'm a big fan of peanut butter candy bars though. Butterfinger, Reese's. Peanut butter Snickers, there we go. How many hours do you have on your printer's average? Thousands? but I don't know because it took a while before history was available. So I've got, what, a year, a little over a year, and maybe a year and a half of history. Before that, I don't. Yeah, I get that, Lawn Dart. The backer is called a backer because it's supposed to be on the other side of the extrusion from the rail to help constrain 2020. But how much of an effect does this have, of a similar effect does it have? It may not be as effective, but it may have some effect. So I want to not forget that, well, I'm not going to forget 69. It was 69 grams. Nice, right? Yes, I can always go back on the rebuild stream. So there we go. I think I need one of these. I'm gonna grab one of these. And the rest we're gonna go M5s. Then we'll put this away. Take 5 is very good. Yeah. Do people measure printer hours and printing or power on? I do printing hours because I don't turn my printers off. They're on all the time. Put that in the opposite side channel. Drill through the extrusion and use longer screws. That would do it probably. That would be a more effective backer, but that's a lot of work. Nut bars ever become bomb? They'll never become bomb. So this kind of thing will never become spec from Voron. This is a custom item. It is not off the shelf. You can go to 100 different vendors and get these. This has to be made. So. With Lawn Dart here, I even think having 2 steel bars on one side of the 2020 and not one on both sides will increase the problem, but I'll be hesitant until it's been proven right or wrong. Yeah, well, maybe I'll consult with some of the folks who have dived into this much deeper, Whopping Puckard and such, see if they have some suggestions on how to test this. We're going to assemble it. We're going to assemble it today with it in. I'm good. Oh, there we go. So we've got a couple. Chocolate Payday is pretty tasty. You're absolutely right. That is one of them I do like. You don't see them everywhere though. I'm going to sneak an M3 in here first because that's the cable chain. And if I can just slide a T-nut in from the end, it's always easier than inserting it post-install. Hey, Sanity. What time is it where you are? It is awfully late, I'm sure, huh? You're there and bye. Sanity's already gone. Well, thanks for stopping by. Everybody who's watching this after, I appreciate it. 2:30 in the morning. Ouch. Chocolate covered bacon. I could be down with that. Okay. I think those are the only ones we need to insert because we have this guy. So let's see. Bolt that on, and then we'll bolt the ends on. I need my 2020, go, right here. And I want the printing on the rail right side up, even though you never see it. It's still I have to do that. Wipe a little bit of Charlie hair off of here. And I'll do a final tighten on this after I get the ends on and get it centered. Build a basement. Steve, have a good evening. Keep up the great work and for being part of the community. Thank you. $5. Thank you. With the nut bar, do you really need the guide to align the rail? Yes, absolutely. There is still some play here in that bar is not a tight. It couldn't be a tight enough fit and still be able to slide it in well. Or it would take a degree of cost in manufacturing to make it that, and then differences in your rail is probably going to keep it from being effective as well. Brandon, just ordered my last piece for my 2.4 R2 today. Woot! Starting to build in 2 weeks. Awesome. Good luck and have fun. Yes, Derek, I understand the hours are excruciating. I have a day job, so I can't. It's not possible for me to stream. Well, I shouldn't say it's not possible, because this Wednesday we're going to stream early. My wife has an appointment for her. She had foot surgery, and she has a follow-up appointment. And I'm going to take the opportunity to just, since I have to take her to that anyway, I'm going to take off early, so I'm not going to go to work that day, so I can stream. I think it's going to be around noon my time is when I'm going to start. I think that's the safe time to start for making sure we have enough time for what we need to do. So that's noon Pacific time. Here, I'm going to just measure this right now so I can tighten this as we're sitting here. And I think we want 15 millimeters from each end to the thing. I think that's what it should. Yeah, 15 millimeters. So let's go over this way a little bit. There. And that is very good. Perfect hours for us Aussies, though. I know I've had, I don't know if I remember anybody announcing their, or I have. I don't hear it often when people are from Australia. That's awesome. I have a cousin who moved to Australia. So we tighten from the center out. Derek is in the Bay Area. Yep. Did you see the blood moon last night? A little bit of a lunar eclipse. We got a little bit of a view. There was some hazy clouds out that obstructed it a little bit. Mr. Clown, you're Aussie. Awesome. All the Aussies are coming out. Welcome. Okay, we are going to bolt the ends on. I think I've mentioned it before. This washer here, this M5 washer, is an addition to the bomb, I think with Trident. And then I put it in 2.4 when the R2 came out. What happens is the exact stack up and keeping within the size of fasteners in the build here. So this stack of parts going into the MGN9, going into all this, the distance from this surface here to the right there to the bottom of the slot is exactly 30 millimeters. So the washer just makes it so you're not bottoming out the bolt and marring up the inside of the extrusion. Somewhat, but East Coast is terrible for astronomy. Too much light pollution. Yeah, I bet. Andrew, you saw it from Texas. Awesome. My Trident has started getting squeaky with large Z moves, homing tilt. I have palm nuts and no lube. What are common causes for that? I'd put a tiny bit of lube on there and see if it goes away. Do a good job of building Vorons upside down. Okay. We need some of these, and then we need some M5 by 30s. Where did those go? There they are. The last two, and then there is a little packet, I think I saw them, of M5 washers. So these are different from, it would look kind of funny with these brass shims in there. They also included some just regular, these are kind of small outer diameter washers, but they do the job well enough. They just need to space it out. I could have done a printed spacer there too, but what are the red black plugs for on the back of your bench hooked up to? Yes, so I have a 12-volt power supply mounted on the underside of the bench, and these are just outputs, banana plug outputs for them. This switch turns the power supply on, so these aren't active unless this switch is on. At some point, I wanted to change this up and put like a variable power supply in here. I used to do automotive electronic stuff at this bench, so 12 volts was perfect. But it would be nice to have 512 and 24 on there. I would try just the tiniest bit of grease, Chris. Just put it on the T-nut itself and see how it does. Okay, so this is up. This would be this side. That slides on there. And those lined up perfectly already. Didn't even do anything to make that happen. Oh, these are wrong. So I'm putting some M5s on here, but they're actually wrong. They're going to end up being 16s because the cable chain bridge goes there. Does line width affect part strength? CNC Kitchen has a bunch of really great videos on the effect of print settings on strength, on part strength. I would check his stuff out. Stefan is the best channel for that kind of analysis. Hi, Dr. Ronnie. That one was lined up. This one needed a little shift. And I'm not tightening any of these down because it's going to, the width is going to change. We're going to set that width as we put it in the printer. A megapascal guy. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to swap those out for the 16s and the cable bridge. Stefan's delivery is really good too. I really like most of the content creators that I tend to watch over and over. It's the content is super important, but how it's delivered and just the kind of the mood, the way they talk is I really gravitate towards content creators that speak to me that way. I don't know how many megapascals you tighten the hardware. I have no idea. You gonna try this game with him? Hey, Printing Stein. Sadly, in AU, the PIF process doesn't work. Shipping is too expensive and slow. We have a small community who operate outside PIF. Yeah, some of the locations are really tough. I love this old Tony. That's exactly what I mean. This old Tony just has the wordsmiths being able to convey what they're doing in that entertaining way. Yeah. What do we have here? How many people do we have? It's an evening stream, so I'm expecting a few less than yesterday. What, did I get something wrong? What did I say wrong? Hi, Rory? Rory? I don't know how to say that. But hi. Cloud42. I just discovered him. He's who turned me on to this whatchamacallit kit. Deburring kit. What do we want to do? Let's look at the instructions. Let's see where we're at next. Cloud42 is entertaining. Oh, yep, that's what I thought. We're going into putting it on the printer. And then we're gonna kind of square up and tighten the gantry, which we can do right now on the Trident because it's not floating. We're at a point where I think I want a gummy. Maybe two. Old Irish name, you say it like brewery without the B. Brewery. 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 There we go. All right, appreciates everyone's patience with my pronunciation of names and nicknames. Okay, we're gonna pull this thing up here. And we're gonna change our camera angle. And this is gonna go right in here. Right on to the Y thing. So I'm going to try to do that right around there because I think that's probably a pretty decent view right there. I think we need 16 millimeter. These 16s. Ox Tools does not sound familiar to me either. So 16s are correct for that. So we need 2 on this side and 4 on this other side. I think we could do this a couple of ways. I wonder if these little clamps are strong enough. not big enough. That's okay. We don't really need a clamp to do this. I just don't want to drop it. Do one of these clamps. Just temporarily do that while I put the fasteners on this side. And I'm not tightening these yet. We don't want to tighten them yet. We just want them to touch. Where did those go that I just had? Did I grab enough fasteners? Where did they go? Is that ES? The ES15 works fine. My brain, however, does not work fine. Of course, I don't know if I've got the, I'll put this in by finger first. Oh. I need to loosen all of these because it's not wide enough right now. There we go. The only other option left was VHB. Here. Now it tightened it. I didn't want to tighten it. Running screws catch them. Did they go somewhere? Or did I just not pull out, grab enough out of the bag? Okay, so this is in its place. I'm gonna turn this around because the best view to center this thing is from the back, looking between these spots and just running this all the way to the end or all the way to the front and then moving the extrusion to where we're not interrupting the wire path here for the end stop, but it's mostly centered. So let's just make sure none of these are too tight to move things. There we go. Right there. So I'm gonna hold this to the front. On this, as long as you pressed your AB steppers all the way to the frame and your idlers all the way to the frame, either spot here is going to be a reference point, front or back. It's easier for me to see, and I don't know if it's easier for you to see or not, but I'm just gonna slowly, I'm not gonna tighten any of these all the way. Just touch them down with it pressed against some reference point. And then tighten down these. Drop the screwdriver a couple of times and hope the sound noise cancellation kept that from being terrible. There we go. And that is smooth all the way across. Not quite, there we go. We'll do the final de-racking with the belts, but we want it to be really close here without any belts on. Hey, Emmanuel. Brain works coarse instead of fine. Mine is definitely working coarse, especially after the long day of work. That's all fine. It's moving smooth. We'll do the final stuff. Final making sure everything is de-racked with the belts. What did I miss? Did I miss anything? See, have you thought about trying the Unclicky line of parts? They are awesome. I have the Unclicky probe kit on the way. I have not. Isn't that pretty new? Like the no D2F switch thing? I haven't. Yeah, your head is like your garage, so full of stuff I can't remember anything. Yep. These little stoppers can come out now. School computer tech here. We are approaching the end of the school year and demand is high for our service. Long day indeed. Yes. We're approaching the end of the fiscal year and dealing with purchasing, end of year purchasing deadlines and stuff. Part of our IT services and support that my group does is IT software maintenance, purchasing and stuff. Okay, where are we at? Are we at belts now? Figure if we can get the whole gantry belted up, then that's a good stream for today. Looks like that's where we're at. Onto the belts. Oh, and getting some of the X carriage here prepared. Smadu, welcome. Working late, so glad to have Steve's stream to listen to. Awesome. Glad I can help. Okay, where did those parts go? We have the X carriage, and this is the Clockwork 1 version. Because we'll be assembling this with Afterburner parts first, and then in a follow-up stream, right away, we'll be doing some of the extras, including Stealth Burner and Clicky and that stuff. Trying to build so much faster than the other models. This is pretty fast. I was looking back at my my first Trident build I did on stream, and I was here. So what took me 5 hours yesterday was about 3 hours in that build. But I wasn't interacting nearly as much in that build. Is it going with the AB to Murph or with... Oh, so it will be going with Stealth Burner. It'll be going fully decked out, kitted out when I'm done is what it'll be when it goes to Murph. You don't know what... Also know what Murph is? You know what Murph is, right? Midwest Rep Festival. It's in Indiana in late June. June 24th through 26th. Belts. We got belts. And 3x12s. Some of those. And I need a couple of M3 hex nuts. And some M3x40. And an M3x30, I think. Do you update click per config after changing nozzle size? No. I think Sanity went back to sleep. She stopped by, said hi, made an appearance, but it's awfully late. It's awfully late for those of you in many parts of the world. So I'm just gonna insert that, I think. Is that all the way? Did the feed? Oh, are we? Oh, we are frozen. Let's see what happened. We're back. Just a little glitch. A glitch in the matrix. What does that do when I do that? YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Are we back? Did you miss anything? What's the story with the fans under the bed on a V2? Any validity to it? Sure. Moving the air around can be helpful. Can help speed up your chamber heating times. Am I still lagging? I don't know what to do about that. Can I refresh this without any problem? Here, give me just a second. I want to make sure I don't have some family member doing some extra heavy-duty internet activities. I'm going to be right back. Let's see if that helped. Where are we at? What's really cool about Unclicky is you can get better accuracy than a traditional switch in testing. We'll get some testing on it. I mean, just, it makes sense, but you clicked on something, then it dropped out, then your main cam, it dropped frames as it recovered. Are we good now? Okay. Oldest son discovered 4K OnlyFans. My oldest son is 18. My only son is 18 now. So what he does is his business. Okay. We have... My wife was watching a video. I don't know. I didn't get into what resolution or anything, but... And usually I don't have to worry about it. I never ask everybody to stay off during my normal streams. But it is a different time than usual, so it may be area usage. I am on a cable-based service, so... Okay, a couple of M3x12s for the... Let's use this and this. So these M3x12s that go in the front of the carriage thread into plastic. And I want to do this slow. There we go. Slow. And they should go into the point of, it's 3 millimeters, but I usually just grab the back side of the tool head and thread this into touch and then back a quarter turn to where that will capture the tool head there. Yeah, the only reasonable service that's available to me is a cable-based. So quite a few months ago, I did discover that instead of the normal 10 megabit up, they had a 30 megabit unlisted offering. So at least I'm on that. But no, fiber is not available to me, and I absolutely wish it was. Nope. I bet you it's neighborhood usage that's causing any little issues. Yeah, the advertised rates for my service is 1 gig down and 30 meg up. So, okay, we're gonna belt this up. So, get a pad and go door knocking. We have a long bit of belt here, and I like to run a path, the belt path, cut it, and then pull it out and cut 2 of them, and then rerun both. So let's see what we can do here. Have to step out probably for the duration. Have a good stream. I'll catch the rest later. Thanks for being here, Chris. We'll catch you later. Fiber, but I have granola bars. You're right. That is absolutely true. Oh, let's go this way. And then we come out. Okay. So with the offset tensioning idlers, these screws do get in the way now, where you didn't have to pull them out before to run the belts. I always have to pull them out. I'm watching the stream yesterday. I was actually curious, could we self-source for 300 cubes, or do we LDO? You can absolutely self-source all of this. You can buy your extrusions from Asumi or wherever for the longer corner extrusions and the rear extrusion you need. There's nothing exclusive. All of these parts are available anywhere. This is just what LDO has decided to do for their 300 kit. They will, from what I understand, they will be selling these lead screws as well, the 350 millimeter Z lead screw steppers. AT&T just started up my front yard and ran fiber here, so hopefully soon for me. Yeah, I would love for something else to be available. I'm probably going to end up in the way of the camera often on this belt routing, and usually when I'm doing this, I have to remember which way is the easier way to route these. So I'm gonna try this as it is. So I go through the left side, through the front here, and then loop this around and put a little bend on the end, and it should pull right back through here. So now we've got it out the back. We can feel that it hit the bearing, and then just wrap it through the rest of the printer. Going to the back, and then we'll turn the printer around. So let me clear stuff so I'm not throwing fasteners and parts all over the place. Thanks. I would much likely wait for the kit anyways. Yeah, you're looking at probably late summer, but that's completely up in the air right now with supply constraints. So we're gonna just flip this around, pull this through here. We are on the bottom side. So I cover this on every build. The common mistake that we see in the Discord is someone to put this belt through here and grabbing the plastic pillar here. And that's a no-no. The shape of this part has been modified to try to make it a little more evident that it doesn't go there. I'm going to go in right next to the bearing. Through that way. And then come back out. And kind of sneak in. You can sneak in with something from the top maybe to help push that bearing. I'm kind of blind right now. Not actually seeing what I'm doing. Hoping I can get this threaded in there. ABS is not an idler, absolutely. Oops, I'm trying to go this way. Trying not to go. I just can't see. Do I have something I can stand on? This is a tall printer. Jared, welcome. 940 is typical for gigabit, even if you're local network to local network. Yeah. Oh. Let me bend the end of the belt. There we go. That made it easier. So then that goes through here. Hi, freak. Rotate the printer. Hi, Ben Boar. There we go. Then this goes through here. Hi, Tracy. And there we go. Okay, now we're going to cut. So we're going to make sure we're somewhat on all of the pulleys. Everything's good. Good there. And on the front. So we're going to have tons of extra belt here. We can overlap a few inches, quite a few centimeters, and be fine. So I'm just going to cut it right there, and I know I'll be fine. I'm going to be cutting quite a bit off at the end as well. So overlapping those by 100 millimeters or so. Now we undo all that hard work. Do you loosen the grub screw on the stepper when setting the belt path, or do you use the jig tool? So I use the jig tool to get it close, and then I'll show you what I do to get it perfect once it's belted, because I wait until after it's belted to do that. AT&T has 2.5 and 5 gigabit in your neighborhood. That would be wonderful. So I just mesh the belts together and then pull it through. And then cut it at the end. And see, we ended up with a ton of extra belt. So going extra long there is better safe than sorry. Okay. Now, I need to find out where it says gates. Oh, there it says gates. And put it on where the gates is right side up. That's very important. Don't forget. Make sure your gates text is readable. It's not important at all. Through here. On a Trident, this is way easier on a Trident to run these front idler belts because you don't have a gap here. Because your frame bolts together here. There's no gap like you have on a 2.4. On a 2.4, you have to kind of give it a little, use a screwdriver or something to make sure it goes on the other side of the extrusion instead of out the side. I do not have any 3D pens. The biggest use that the only use I could see myself of a 3D print pen is trying to do some like plastic welding type things, repair. I tend to not be super organically artistic. There we go. That was better. Is it okay if it says SITAG? No, that is not okay. Your prints will not come out as nice if it says SITAG. It must say Gates. I know that many of you here absolutely 100% agree with me on that. Exactly, DJ Natty. Gates backwards. Okay, I'm going to take one of these, the half of the carriage. We don't bolt the carriage halves together. I'm going to take one half of the carriage and just kind of hold that in place. I'm going to use the ES15. There we go. And that's just going to make sure I don't lose that belt off that side. That looks like that took some effort, Digital Matrix. That looks like that took some effort to Gates upside down. As long as it has no bill before it. Okay. Does it say Gates? There's the Gates. Now half the Pete's have to rebuild their printer to make it right. and then the other half are just completely relieved to find out that it is right, either completely on purpose because they paid attention to that and have a perfectly running printer, or by chance. See if you got me questioning my use of the blue skirts and black corners. Blue corners and black skirts might look better. Yeah, you'll have a real good idea on here. So if anybody doesn't know, Jared here has one of these kits as well, and he will be building it. Okay, making sure we don't use ABS as an idler. Boing. There we go. It takes no effort at all. It's surprising how easy that is to read. The human mind sees that and is able to read it. Ooh. There we go. Okay. Yes, Jared should start increasing. He's done some content. He's got a channel. Should check it out. ABS is not an idler. I can't, someone said that in chat. I can't claim that one. So for this side of the X Carriage, I only clamp it down with just a few teeth of the belt sticking out. You don't need this to loop forward and be able to grab onto. I make sure that they are equal. You want to, because we cut them to the same length. So I want to keep everything. Take this a little bit more. I want that many there and that even. So just like that. And then we're gonna not tighten, but snug this side down, okay? He needs to film his build also. Should. Okay, so I have quite a bit of slack there. DJ Natty, you're the one that said it? There we go. I'll suggest that to Dunnar for the manual. Although the manual's done. So everybody knows you can get the files for Trident R1 right now if you go out to GitHub and look at the pull requests. So far, we haven't hit, to this point in the build, we haven't hit anything that's changed in R1 aside from the cross bridge method on some of the holes on the XY joints and the AB stepper mounts. Everything else hasn't changed. I'll buy a GoPro just for that. You can use a GoPro on your bike. So you got to, anytime you can justify a purchase with dual uses, makes it a lot easier. Okay, now we're just gonna put this, the other side of the carriage in place and snug it down as well. Just for you guys. There we go. Okay, so nothing's tight, but everything's in place. Everything moves smooth. Everything's riding in the right spots. Yep. Brewery. So Trident R1 is about to be released. It is, if 2.4 was a minor release, this is a minor release. And that credit to someone else from yesterday's chat on that one. There are no like parts changes. Like 2.4 R2 got the MGN12 X-axis. It got the guitar amplifier feet. It got a few minor things like that. Trident R1 is all printed parts. So the offset front idlers, redoing all of the countersunk holes with the cross bridge method instead of the chamfer method, and things like the bolt-on skirt fans from 2.4 R2, and yeah, super minor stuff like that. So a few fastener changes, but no parts changes. Oh, and the bed mounts changed to give an extra 3 millimeters of travel, but that's 3 printed parts change. So, of course, there's a couple of other little things that I'm gonna have to put back to 2.4, and then there's probably gonna be something there. We'll go back to Trident R2, right? So 2.4 R3 and then Trident R2, and we'll just bounce back and forth and make Ray go completely nuts. Still doing your bike ride, Steve Builds? I haven't. I have to admit, I haven't been on the bike in about a week and a half. I've been just busy trying to get things done in the evenings, but I'm back on the bike. At the very latest, I'm back on the bike next Tuesday. See ya, Jared. I'll definitely still be here in 10 or 15. For sure. Okay. Both sides are bolted on. The belt is coming out exactly even. Same length. Everything is even. For right now, I'm now going to bolt the carriage halves together. And this is a little loose. I want everything to be loose, but I want it to be tight enough to capture the belts without them pulling through. So I think this is a 30 millimeter on the bottom. $30 millimeter on the bottom. Let's do this. And then as I'm tightening these in, I'm just shifting the parts just to make sure the plastic lines up. Make sure everything's nice and neat. Nice and neat. The 40s. Let's see if the gantry has any racking, probably right on the money. Well, right now it is, it should be pretty close. It could use a little bit of tension on this side right now, but it's very close. Kenneth, welcome back. Hello, print cord. Everything's doing good. I'm going to use my hand wrench just to make sure things are torqued down. Just a little more torque than the ES15 can give. And then this is all really close to where I would want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten the front carriage bolts now. And we might play with this a little bit depending on my own, how it feels when I tighten it up. When I tighten the, right here might be good. When I tighten or tension the belts, I want my end result tension to be closer to the back than the front. I want more room for any further adjustments later. So yeah, I'm going to be pretty close. So I don't want it to end up to where the tensioner is butted up against the front here, because then I don't have anywhere to go. I want it to be somewhere around the middle, biased towards the back. Wonder if they're going to add additional height for 350. Are you talking for a Trident 350, Stephen? And I don't think I saw you in here before, so welcome. I know I've seen you before, but today. I don't remember saying hi before. As far as I know, similar to the 2.4. So 2.4, they're doing a 300 and 350. Trident, they're doing a 250 and 300. But 300 first, then 250. Just like with the 2.4, they did 300 first and then the 350. And it's coming time. My Trident been sitting idle for weeks waiting on my wiring harness. The upgrades are super, super easy to swap out. Really, the only things that I would reprint, and even then I would only do it if you want to, is the front idlers and the 3 bed mounts. That's it. Okay. Oh, we can put our tensioning screws back in. And I also want to these bolts for the tensioners, I want those to be tightened down to touching, but still able to slide. And I think this one over here could use just a little bit more. Touching, but still able to slide and not bind up. So wait, is this LDO Trident 300 in the Z as well? Yes, it is. So Aaron, LDO has opted to, their thing, one of their things with this is to spec their 300 build with 300Z as well. Okay, all of this is good. I want to tension these, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with the pulleys at the back, because you can do any of those adjustments with it fully tensioned, no problems. Things are moving smooth, and it is perfectly racked right now. I probably want a little more tension in the belts, and I know you're going to ask me, how do you know how tight is tight enough? And I'm going to say, nope. Maybe. Let's go here. And now we're going to check for it being lined up. It's still perfect. I must have just hit those at the right amount. That's feeling pretty good. Yep, by feel. I'm sorry. I really don't know how to quantify that, because that's good. Yeah, that is good. I feel. And it's kind of, I mean, I'm not putting a lot of pressure here. It's not tight. It's not drum tight. You don't want it super taut, but it might take just a little bit of effort to make it touch the other belt. A little, maybe a pound or two, and that's a wild ass guess. What about that 120 to 140 spectrum analyzer belt tension? I've never actually done that to see if I did it by feel and then I try to do some spectrum analyzer, if I'm in that range or not. I've never bothered. I just say, okay, that feels good. I'm gonna run with it. If I feel like I have any problems that might be belt related later, a little bit more on this side. Not too tight, not too loose, exactly. Okay, let's see if I can get maybe a couple of boxes here. I'm gonna need a bigger box. I need a bigger something. Maybe we just go with stacking them. I'm just gonna bring that there. Hey, that might be good enough. How are we there? And what I'm looking for is, I've moved the gantry back and forth, right? And yes, Mr. Khan, the extra Z has come back to bite you. I've moved the gantry back and forth. It's settled. It's in its spot. And what I'm just making sure is I can see some teeth at the top, on both sides of the belt. And it's pretty close to right in the center there as it is. So I'm not going to adjust that one. I'm calling that one good. So, and you have a pretty good view on this. You can see it with your eyes, and the camera is doing pretty good here at showing it. I think you can see that the belt is right in the center of that. I'm using boxes of the parts that came in. G Funny Money, do you think the front idlers are worth reprinting? I'm currently in the middle of a Trident 250 build. If you're in the middle of the build, I would. If you've got a printer that's working and is not wearing the belts, I wouldn't change them. But if you're in the middle of a build, I probably would, because you don't want to end up then with some uneven wear on your belts. Going through all of this, making sure that your belt path is all lined up and checking this, what we're doing right now, because this can be a cause of things getting pushed out of the way and rubbing on the edge of a bearing as well. So just taking all this extra care in the middle of your build is going to help at the end. The success of your build is going to depend on the quality of parts and the effort you put in assembly. So let's go down a little bit here. This one is also settled, and in the same vein, I see teeth on the top and on the bottom. So I am okay with that one as it is as well. As long as it's running, there's over a millimeter of, this is about a 7 millimeter wide belt path, I think, on these, and it's a 6 millimeter belt. So as long as you can see teeth on both sides as everything's settled, you've moved the gantry back and forth a bit to get it settled. Right on the money. Now, I did this and I did have to change, even though I used the jig, I had to change it a little bit on this 2.4 here. So. Brewery, thanks for becoming a member. Do you prefer steppers that have the connector built in or with the pigtail? So generally in the steppers that we see, you're not going to get a high temperature stepper with a connector, because the connector and those are not rated to the temperatures. So it'll be an integrated wire when you have a high temperature stepper. For the Z steppers, that doesn't matter. For the A and B steppers, I would probably, since they're available, I would lean towards running the high temperature ones. Doing a little pigtail like these are, with a micro fit on it, works really well. Go, what is that, 50 centimeters out, couple inches. So, belts are on. Belts are tensioned. Things are moving well. There are no binding. Here, I'm going to push on the gantry instead of on the carriage. And there is no shifting. So nothing is moving where it shouldn't. Okay, where are we here? What is our time? We're at 6:43. We're only an hour and 45 minutes in. We gotta find something else to do, make some progress. All the belting is done, and it's talking about this path, and make sure you don't use that piece of plastic there as an idler. You like that? You like Charlie's Angels? That's all you guys. Folks here suggested that, and it's a good idea. I like it. DJ Natty, these are 0.9. So the AB steppers are 0.9. These are, I don't know exactly what model they are. Does it say on here? Yeah. So that is the model of steppers that this has. So you can pause that later, whatever. This is what the beta kit is coming with. That kind of thing is always subject to change. But like with anything else, if it does change, make sure you're aware, make sure what's changing with any kit. Make sure you know what you're getting at the time of purchase, not necessarily what they gave away months ago or whatever. The standard 0.9s. Now they made a change to those, even if the part number didn't change or not. And we'll find out on this. I know some of those 2 amp 0.9s did tend to exhibit some resonant sounds on the Trident especially. And the newer versions, none of my Tridents or even my Legacy that I'm running them on, and I've got a OMC or Stepper Online version as well, that are nice. They don't resonate at the speeds I print. Remy, when did I open subscription? Just over 2 weeks ago. Maybe it's 3 weeks ago. It's been a very short time. Really, it got to the point where realizing or recognizing what my goals are for memberships, and it's really just about getting another level of community interaction, because that's what this whole thing is about for me, is interacting with people. It's not about anything more than that. And I've got a ton of folks here that are here often, and we're developing a community in really riding on the Voron community, because in general we've got a huge, very nice community going, and I'm having a lot of fun being a part of that. So I chose one level at a low monthly rate and get as many people in there as possible. And we're going to do probably our first member stream the weekend before Murph, the Saturday, because I'll be doing the European friendly time just on Saturday instead. I think I'm building a Voron. When does a V0 make sense versus Trident? Budget, complexity of build, and printing needs. I mean, if you can get away with all of your printing on the 120 millimeter cubed volume, then a V0 is a really nice little printer. Hey, Zombie Hedgehog, welcome. I believe the new 247 printing video on the 0.1 talked about that in his latest video. Yeah, I think there's a slight change in the NEMA 14s too. I'm a member with my main account and just sitting here with the private account. Okay. Privately, I was wondering, I'm pretty sure I saw DJ Natty in the list. Wasn't going to say anything. That's rude. Yes, Tracy was a big vocal advocate of memberships. I appreciate it. What screw tray is that? So this is a tray that I remodeled. Well, I took inspiration from a version that's on printables. So there's a version on printables. It's a remix from a pen holder, but it has really thin walls, and it broke on me pretty easy. So they didn't provide CAD, but it's a really simple model. I need to provide CAD. I do intend to upload the CAD. But I thickened the walls and added some fillets and put it out on printables. And everybody asks, and I should put just a link to my my models page, but I can paste this here. I should put that in the description. That's that tray. Adam, $4.99. Thank you for being you, Steve. Thank you for being here. Hi, Jeff. Ever thought about adding magnets to the tray? We could. I didn't. I mean, what it is it's useful as it is to me. Okay. What can we do next? Jeremy Taylor, thanks for becoming a member. So belt routing is done. Belt tensioning is done. You should pin the link in your description. I should put it in the description. Yes. I should put that and the link to my Voron user mods folder because I need to update that. I've got a bunch of things that need to go out there. Yeah, Zombie Hedgehog, go for it. And I've seen Squirrel Brain on here did a remix of that on Thingiverse, and his version is really neat. It kind of fits together, and there's little pieces in between, and he expanded. He changed it quite a bit. It's good stuff. I highly encourage anybody to go in and remix those. Okay, Carriage. We just followed all these directions. I'm not going to cut those belts short yet. I like to wait until the last second to cut belts. The parts and the jigs get... Yeah. I have so much stuff I need to put out there. I am so behind on that. Let me let Charlie out real quick. Yes, it takes me a very long time to do some of that. Oh, we can do this. Let's put the Omron sensor in. Why would one want to use Teflon colored lead screws versus regular steel ones? Theoretically, although we're hearing some noise in the chat today that some of them are making noise, you don't have to lube them. Otherwise, it's one of those 0.01% things. I don't know if you'd even actually see it. A quality difference of any degree, but they look good. I mean, could I go with anything else with these black accents? Isn't that just perfect? Black lead screws, black accents. Okay. This around. Let's find the electronics box, I think. I think electronics is, or cable kit maybe? That one, or electronics. We're looking for the Omron probe because we're going to run it first with an Omron. Not in there. At least the silver linear rails really kind of blends into the frame here. So black linear rails are cool, but these at least blend in. Black belts. The high temp belts are black, I think. I think the Gates high temp ones are black. Are there new versions of the Carriage for NGN 9? I don't, not for this printer. If I updated them and I don't remember if they were updated, check the 2.4 R2 files, but still go into the or the legacy, no, not legacy, but outdated or deprecated or whatever we called it folder would be where the MGN 9 stuff is. I don't know if I changed anything, but there's not any significant changes on them anyway. Will the black coating survive the long run? I have hundreds of hours on my purple Trident, and it has black coated lead screws, and they don't appear to be wearing down. I may have put a very thin coating of lube on those too, though. It's not going to hurt to put a very thin coating of lubrication on them. There's the Omron probe. How the palm nut provide under any of the temperatures that we print at, I think it's fine. Need the little bracket. I have the West 30 black CNA rails. Sorry for whoever wanted to buy 300. They look amazing. Yeah, I have some Robot Dig black rails I put in my original V2 that I built. Superseded parts, that's what we called it. Okay. I couldn't remember. I've used that super lube stuff just a tiny, tiny bit and almost wipe it off. You don't need a lot. Omron probe, that'll be a 20 millimeter, I think a 20 or 25 millimeter button head screws for that. Do we have those? I don't see those here. They've included those in the other kits. See if we have something in the spares. There's a spare, oh, it's hard to see, but I've got a pile of spares fasteners. The Omron probe is kind of, it's a thick probe, and using button heads to hold it on helps keep things out of the way of whatever tool head you're going to put on here. This is going to get a dragon, but the kit won't come with a tool head similar to the other printers. They don't come with the hot end. So I'm going to have to make a note of that and see if they intend to put the other screws in here. So that's a note on the kit. I think is that the first major note we've come across? Does the Omron probe fluctuate less with heat? It's really expensive. We don't generally buy the official. I mean, we recommend it for sure. If you can swing it, the official Omron probes are probably going to be more consistently good. But the AliExpress available probes are relatively cheap. They don't tend to melt when you install your hot end properly, like the PL series of probes. And we, in hundreds or thousands of builds, have used them successfully. Mormon. It's a Mormon probe. And I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to say anything offensive. Are hot ends a problem in the supply chain now as well? No. So, but from the beginning, especially when we were talking about 2.4, and this is just LDO we're talking about, they did a poll asking if people would rather pick their own hot end and have the kit be a lower price and not include that. And the determination was folks would rather pick their own hot end. So now with the Raspberry Pi, that's a supply and cost issue. Raspberry Pis are extremely expensive and hard to get. So those Pi increases the kit cost significantly. That's a supply issue. But hot ends is a community poll decision. Good night, Ken. Thanks for being here. And you're right, Nick. All of these less than $60 Omron probes are some sort of questionable origin, but we've had success with them, right? That's before I installed Clicky and Euclid on my machines. This is the only probe I used. I never even tried to use those PL probes. Is there a Cali accent? I thought it was basically understood that California is the non-accent. We don't have an accent. I thought it's as neutral as it gets. Okay, we do not have, and I may be missing them, but I'm going to put a note that I cannot find the proper screws for the probe. So I'm going to grab them out of my supply so we can get this installed. I don't remember exactly what length we needed here. Will that work? Will this one work? No. Okay. We'll do 2 of these, whatever this is. Yes, that's not for you, Charlie. Yes, I am getting inspected. These are 25 millimeters, what I grabbed. Oh, good job, Jared. I didn't see your comment until after I measured it and grabbed them. David, $5, thank you. Can you briefly talk about your workbench? It looks like a laminate countertop. Did you just build a 2x4 frame underneath? Exactly. And most of it, this one is mostly 2x3s. I built this workbench probably 18 years ago, somewhere around there. It is a preformed Lowe's, Home Depot, hardware store countertop. This one's a 4 foot long. The one over here is 8 foot long. I built a 2x3 frame underneath it, and then later I added, maybe I can get a view this way. It's a mess here, but whatever. I built in some drawers. So like I put all my wire cutters and stuff like that there. I have measuring tools. I like this box because I put dividers in here and they slide. So yeah, I built in the drawers, but before it was just a frame here. And the other bench is similar, but I did 2x4s and I doubled them all up here because I don't have a center support and I wanted to be able to hold the weight of the printers. So, interestingly, when I was putting the drawers on this this workbench, I was building all that, is when I got bit by a table saw. I got a chunk out of my middle finger there. I got the middle finger and I got this finger, and I had a V out of my nail here, but it is healed back. I don't even have a scar in my thumbnail or in my fingernail. Probably missed a heap. Put new pickups in my telly. So mostly table saw, that kind of stuff to build this. I mean, table saw. Yeah. It was not a pleasant experience. I did get very lucky. I was cutting something and I was tired and in a hurry, you know, the normal story. And I turned. I wasn't moving my hand. I turned and my hand went, and it just felt like I got punched in the finger. It didn't even hurt for a long time. Okay, so these guys, and even gonna use, if I can find it, Charlie's sitting on it. There's a little bit of a numb sensation at the very tip of my finger, but it doesn't really bother me. It's not completely void of any feeling. There we go. I really want to buy a saw stop. I just haven't pulled the trigger. I don't really have room for it. My other garage is really crowded. Yeah. No, I was constantly telling myself how stupid I was for doing that. We're going to do a final adjustment of the height here. I seem to remember that it should be where this sticker ends should be about level with the bottom of the carriage, but I don't remember exactly. We'll adjust it when we put the hot end on. I don't know if gloves are a good idea with table saws. You don't want to get caught and then pulled into it. That scares me. Similar to a drill press, stuff like that. You probably don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounds like a bad idea. They sell magnetic covers for most size table saws. You can use as a nice heavy flat work surface. Yeah. Yeah. Do you still want to building? Oh yeah, David Norton. I have been collecting parts for a Trident IDEX. I have all the frame parts. I have the NEMA 14 steppers I need. I just have to fit it into the project schedule. Okay, we have that on. So the kit comes with foil tape to put on the Omron probe, and that's fine. I've done it on the other kits I've built. I've never had one of these melt. I'm just not gonna put it on there. Me putting that on or not is not gonna affect the ability of the print. I mean the evaluating the kit. I'm just not gonna put it on because I think it's a pain in the neck, and I've never had one melt. Neckties and long hair with paper shredders. Is Eddie done with the dev work on the Tridex? He's got a functioning one. It's probably at the point where he needs some people to build it and give him feedback, and that's what I need to help with. I want to help with. The amount of stories I hear of people getting dragged into lathes is astonishing. I bet. Where are we at? 707? Let's look at the instructions real quick. Where are we at? Are we at a good point? Oh, that says 6 millimeters there. It gives us a measurement, which means mine needs to go up a little bit. If it melts, there are probably other issues. Absolutely, I think so. With these probes, with the PL, the red probes, those things melt if you look at them funny. So I don't recommend using those, and they don't fit properly on this carriage as well. That's a note that I keep forgetting to highlight. When we went to the MGN12 setup, the red PL probes have to go all the way to the top, and even then they on certain hot ends they can be too low. I'm gonna move this up a little bit because the instructions say to. Guess about there and leave it at that guess. Also on my printer tonight, just put in the camera channel left Z mount. I need to flip the printer and double check the bottom, but it seems good so far. Awesome, thanks for that feedback. I appreciate that. What side frame did you get for the IDEX? I'm turning the orange Trident. I'm gonna use it as the base. It's a 250 build. I have a orange frame 350 frame that Jared's gonna get half of because he has an orange 250 Trident as well. We're gonna split that frame off. So I'm gonna have a 350 wide by 250 deep base to work on. How can I build one of those LDO orange cat? Charlie matches my Trident. Not going to use a magnet because we're using switches for the end stop. And then we're at the next part. So we can chat for a few more minutes. I think we're going to call it there though, as far as the build. And I'm just going to give you a little view, at least a little closer view of Charlie. He's settling in easily tonight. What size bed would that Tridex be? I'm gonna leave it with the 250 bed. I'm not gonna try to set it up for duplication or mirror mode. I just want to be able to hit the full bed with both tool heads. And I think I'll just leave the bed that I have now. That way I don't have to buy another bed, another heater, all that. Yes, more ideas and projects and time. I got more gummies here. New Dash Nero, how magnets work. Magic, right? Terry Holman, thank you for becoming a member. Yes, anybody who isn't familiar with Eddie the Engineer, look him up on YouTube. Eddie the Engineer. He's the designer. He took over development of the Voron 1 when 2.4 was coming out. He took the 1.6 and did a lot of similar things that 2.4 was doing and released 1.8. So, and then when came time to start looking at 1.9, he and I worked together on that, and he allowed me to complete development and release Trident. So, but Eddie does so much fun stuff. And he has some really good technical videos. So if you search for Eddie the Engineer, you'll find him. Does he have any? Let's see. Can I? Let's see. Let's recycle one of these as soon as I find my mouse. YouTube. Eddie the Engineer. This is, yep, custom Voron IDEX. When can you build one? He did post that 8 months ago, but a lot of that is, you got to find people who can take the time and energy and everything to build and verify and give feedback. I'm gonna pause that, but this is Eddie's channel. Where to go here? So, Jared, how do I find yours? Is yours? Are you still on here? Is it C01? All right. There we go, Jared. This is Jared's channel. So keep an eye out. We can push Jared to get some content out there. Jared C01. Look at that snazzy logo. I need a snazzy logo. I've been working on one. I have a friend that's helping me with one. I do have some test outro, intro type stuff and logos, but it's hard to make time for that when I'm doing this stuff. Charlie left. He was done. Good evening, Smedu. Another bearded guy has a beard a requirement for the Voron team? Nearly. You definitely get bonus points. So I think with that, we're at 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's a pretty good weekday stream. I want these to be shorter so they're easier to consume after. Well, I think they were talking about Eddie, Jared. I think they were talking about Eddie on the beard. I want these to be shorter so they're easier to consume after. I understand that the weekday streams aren't ideal for everybody, but I'm glad that, or hoping that folks understand the reason why I'm doing it. Otherwise, we will be back here on Wednesday. I'm thinking noon Pacific, but keep an eye out on my channel. I'll schedule it. Hopefully, maybe I'll schedule it tonight if I can get that done. Otherwise, it'll get scheduled tomorrow afternoon. A beard helps you think. I need a longer beard then, so I can help think more. So, with that, thanks everyone. Thanks to LDO for allowing me to do this in front of everybody. That's awesome. I think that's a really cool thing. Thanks for everybody who joined. Thanks for everybody who was here. So, with that, we will see you on Wednesday. Have a good evening. Bye.